Thank you for joining me today in our practice as we continue with our chakra balancing series. And we're in week 5 now, so that means we are on chakra number 5, which is throat chakra. And throat chakra is also called Vishuddha chakra. So, throat chakra relates to the element of ether. And ether is also, or can be described also as space. So, and the element of space is that in which the other elements exist. So within space exists earth, water, fire, and air. And the other aspect of Vishuddha Chakra, in addition to ether, is sound or vibration. And so when we have a blocked throat chakra, what we often experience is the inability to sound, meaning we may have difficulty expressing ourselves, of speaking our truth, of showing up as ourselves, as authentic beings. And we also may have the inability to really hear others and hear the truth of others or to hear truth in general. And so I'd like to take a few moments to just comment on the the social, emotional, psychological, energetic environment that we are all experiencing right now in our country and our world, because I think it's really relevant to this throat chakra energy, this Vishuddha energy. And the word Vishuddha means purification. And I really feel that we are going through a purification of sorts on a collective level. And I feel like we're working with throat chakra energy on a collective level as well. For the past few years leading up to today, and I believe going forward for sure, we've been more willing to show up authentically. We've been willing to speak our truth more and more, whether we do it as individuals or as groups or as specific communities. This has been a growing trend. And so, as a collective, we are unblocking that throat chakra energy, that ability to speak our truth, that ability to be authentic. And being authentic means that we're coming from the heart. That is inherent in authenticity, is that what we are speaking, what we are expressing, how we're expressing ourselves, it all comes from the heart. And in a sense, we're going through a decluttering of our inner landscape because we are willing to let go of labels and presumptions and judgments that have been put on us by others and that we've been holding on to for a long time. And by doing that, we are experiencing a purification. And so, as we continue to work with, or actually, as my hope is that we continue to work with this throat chakra energy and see its importance, always its importance, but certainly right now, its importance, so that we can continue to move toward this progression of openness in our communication, genuine communication, authentic communication, heartfelt communication with each other, and also that genuine listening and ability to discern what is true through our listening. So I hope you enjoy today's practice. And also, I hope you see the importance of working with throat chakra energy at this time. Again, as individuals, as groups, as communities, as a collective. It's really powerful right now for sure. So, with all that being said, I'm going to take a nice deep breath. And I'm going to show you some things in order to prepare for today's practice on balancing Vishuddha chakra energy. So what we're going to need today are some accessories. And it could be a variety of things. It could be a combination of things. I'm just going to point those out to you. So we could use 2 blocks. So if you have 2 blocks, you could bring that out. If you don't have blocks, no problem. You could use 2 yoga blankets or firm blankets of some kind. If you don't seem to have that, no problem. You could also use towels, and I would recommend 3 to 4 towels if you don't have either yoga blocks or yoga blankets or firm blankets. And if you didn't want to use towels, you could also use 2 to 3 firm cushions. So there's a lot of options here for what you can use as accessories. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to work with sounding. So I had mentioned that sound is related to Vishuddha chakra, to throat energy. And so we're going to be working with sound. We're going to be working with our voice a little bit. And if that feels a little strange to you or a little scary to you, that's okay. Just take a pause, take a breath. Don't worry, you can do it. I used to feel that way. I was very self-conscious of my voice and how I sounded, and I always felt like I couldn't sing. And the more you just allow yourself to work with sound, work with your voice, you give yourself permission to then sound. You give yourself permission to speak. You give yourself permission to be heard because you allow yourself to hear yourself. So, no worries. We're going to do this together, and hopefully you'll have fun with it too. Okay, so as we get started with our throat chakra balancing practice, I have 3 setups here that I just want to show you. As I'd mentioned, we're going to use some accessories, and I had given you some options as to what you can use. So to start off, we're going to be in a supported hero pose. And in order to do that, I've got 2 blocks stacked up, and so I could come into my pose by sitting on those 2 stacked blocks, just like that. And I could also put a towel or a blanket to give it a little cushioning if I wanted to. So that's one way to come into a supported hero pose. And then I've got 2 other setups here. I've got a yoga blanket with a cushion. I could have 2 yoga blankets. I could have 2 cushions, multiple cushions. You could have as many cushions as you want or blankets as you want to give you the height that feels good to you to sit in this pose, in this hero pose. And then I've got basically 2 towels, but again, you could use as many as you needed, folded in thirds, kind of to mimic the blocks over there. And again, you would simply come onto those towels in this fashion to come into your hero pose. So 3 different kinds of setups. You decide what works best for you, given what you have at your home. And I'm going to work with the blanket and the cushion for today for myself. So go ahead and get situated into your supported hero pose. Get those buns out of the way. Even if we're not sitting directly on the ground, it's always good to kind of move the gluteal muscles to the side so you can really feel your sit bones settling into our support. So let's take the first few moments to settle into our seat and call upon that grounding root chakra energy to feel stable, to feel steady, to feel rooted in this particular pose, in this moment, in this space. So I invite you to even close your eyes. And as you take a few breaths, just feel your body settling downward in this shape. So as we go forward, let me say one more thing. If this hero pose does not feel comfortable for you, so if you've got any kind of knee issues, or if you're sitting here after a while, your body starts speaking to you and saying, no, I don't think I like this, or I don't really want to be in this shape anymore, by all means, either add more support or simply come out of the hero pose, and you can do everything we're going to do seated, cross-legged, or any form of seat that feels good to you. In fact, you could even sit in a chair for this beginning portion if that felt good to you, if you'd rather be in a chair with your feet flat. So that being said, let's get established in our seat. And again, taking those few deep breaths to really feel your lower body. So feel the legs against the floor, the feet against the floor. As you breathe out, let your weight become anchored downward. Feel your hips and your sit bones settling into that support beneath you. Notice any tendency to engage the lower body muscles, to engage the pelvis in a lifted fashion. And instead, take a couple more breaths, and as you breathe out, really feel your weight settling downward. And imagine your lower body becoming that base, that foundation of stability for you. And then from that base, as you take your next in-breath, begin to gently lift from the base of the spine, lengthening gently, and it may not even be much of a movement. It may even be just more intentional to lift through the spine, to gently engage the core. So that gentle engagement of pelvic floor, navel in and up, feeling some strength at your core so that your rib cage feels lifted. Maybe rolling the shoulders a few times to relax the shoulder blades back and down. And just allowing the head to balance between those shoulders right over the spine, softening that face. Taking a few more nice big breaths. And as we take these next few breaths, I invite you to begin tapping into your voice by sounding on the exhale. So we'll take a nice big breath in. And then on the exhale, make a sound as you exhale out. And let's do that 2 more times. And just pause for a moment after that third breath. And just notice what you feel. Notice sensation in the body. Notice maybe even certain emotions. Notice your thoughts. Did that feel silly to you? Did that feel strange? Do you, for some reason, feel embarrassed, even though you might be by yourself doing this? So just become aware of whatever it is that's coming up for you. And maybe none of that, and that's fine too. That's awesome, in fact. If you're comfortable with the sounding already, you're going to enjoy this. Wonderful. And then go ahead and open your eyes, and we're going to begin to do some movement. So tapping in now from this grounded place, tapping into sacral energy and flowing, sensing our movement through our other external senses, and going with the flow in a mindful way, going with our movement in a very mindful way. So we're going to go into that. And at the same time, tapping into chakra, third chakra, our power, our empowerment, and making sure that as we go through our movement, we're doing it from an empowered place, that we're doing it from a lifted place where we have our core engaged. So we'll start off with some seated cat-cow like movements for flexion extension of the spine. So hands can be anywhere on your thighs. In fact, I like to move my hands and arms with this. So it doesn't matter if you have them situated in a particular place. So as we inhale, we're going to lift up and expand through that heart space. Take those shoulders back, and maybe you bring that head slightly back, retract it. And on the exhale, we're going to round back, pull the navel in as the chin tucks under. And we're going to continue this spinal extension and flexion, and allow your body to flow here. So just tap into that, again, that sacral energy of mindful, flowing, graceful movement, synchronizing the movement with your breath. Inhaling, filling the body with breath on that inhale, exhaling, squeezing it out on the exhale, fully and completely. So nice, smooth, full, rhythmic breaths. Go at the pace that feels good to you, based on your comfort with your breathing. Let the breath guide you here. And after we do this a handful of times, I'm going to again invite you to sound out on that exhale. So any movements we do today, that's going to be my invitation to you, is to play with sound on the exhalation. Whatever sound feels good to you. So it doesn't have to be a particular sound. It doesn't have to be the same kind of sound that I might be making. So just kind of allow yourself to be free with your voice as we do this practice today. So we'll do a few more. Let's do one more. Then come back to center with that neutral spine. Maybe close your eyes. Just pause again for a moment. Notice what you feel. And then we'll continue with a few more movements here. Beautiful. With that next breath, let's inhale and bring those arms up. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to your left and bring those arms down, and then inhale up. And then exhale, twist to your right. And so find a flow. First step is to find a rhythmic flow. Movement and breath guiding your movement, feeling nice and tall and lifted, but also feeling grounded through that lower body. And then, of course, my encouragement to add the sounding whenever you feel like it, as often as you feel like it. Play with that sound. Play with your voice. See what feels like release, what feels like surrender, what feels like expulsion of anything you've been holding on to. And maybe as you do this movement, maybe you slow it down, or maybe you go faster depending on your breath and what your body might feel like it needs. We're going to do two more. And then come back to center, inhaling, lift it up. Take a couple of big breaths, relax the face, feel your lower body grounding down, upper body lifting up. Maybe you close your eyes or you find a focus point. Keep that breath flowing as you lift and lengthen. And on the exhale, let's take your left hand down toward the floor, and you might hit the floor, you might reach the floor, or if you don't reach the floor, you might go to your waist. And then side bend on the exhale. So inhale up. So find your rhythm again. Go at the pace that feels good to you, staying grounded, steady, feeling graceful, mindful, flowing movement, feeling strong and lifted through your core, movement coming from that core. Keeping the heart open, being kind to yourself, being kind to this experience of sounding that you are giving yourself. A few more here. Again, maybe playing with your sound on the exhale as a way of releasing. Sounding is such a great way to release whatever we've been holding on to. Next time we go to the left, we're going to hold it there. So again, your hands maybe, or your left hand may be on the ground as you reach through that right side, or if it's not comfortable to reach the floor, your hand may be at your waist. Continue to stay grounded. So feel your sit bones pressing down here as you side bend, trying not to let that right hip lift up wherever you are with this. Doesn't have to be a big side bend. And on the inhale, reach it up. And on the exhale, going to the other side and holding it there. Again, pressing those sit bones evenly into your support. Lifting the rib cage, finding that side bend, relaxing the face. Even though we're holding it here, maybe, again, you might just feel like sounding out with your breath, possibly. Do what feels authentic to you. And then inhale, bring it up. And exhale, sweep it down. And let's do some shoulder rolls. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, down and forward. Let your whole body get involved if that's what feels right. And the next time you come down, let's stop and go opposite direction. And next time you come down, give it a shake. Shake it out. Okay, we're going to do one more movement, and it involves the area of the collarbones and the shoulders, which is right at that base of the throat. So we're just trying to, with these movements, we're trying to not only flow our energy, but also create space at this area of the throat, at the base of the throat, base of the neck. And so this movement, especially when we inhale, we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together to create space at the front body. And then on the exhale, we're going to squeeze the collarbones together to create space at the shoulder blades in the back body. So the arms will be relaxed wherever they want to be. And then inhaling, initiate the movement from those collarbones. On the exhale, squeeze them together. And then continue with this flowing movement, squeezing the collarbones. Squeezing the shoulder blades on the inhale to open up the collarbone area, and then squeezing the collarbones on the exhale. And let the face and the head flow with this. Try not to be rigid with your neck or your face. The most of the movement is right in that upper body, upper spinal region. So it's a little bit different from the flexion extension we were doing earlier, where we were moving the entire spine. From the base of the spine, the pelvis was moving, everything was moving. This, we're staying really stable through the pelvis and the hips. And mainly it's right through the upper part of the spine that we're doing this flexion extension movement. We're getting a little more targeted to that throat chakra region. We'll do a few more. Last one. And then opening it up, and maybe you shake it out a little. And then just pause. Maybe you close your eyes and just see how it feels as you sit up tall. Gentle engagement of the core to lift the upper body, ground it through that lower body. Find your breath and just notice. Just sit with any sensations, thoughts, feelings. Feel your breath flowing. Feel your body hopefully relaxing, releasing, easing. Beautiful. So we're going to continue and target this throat chakra region a little bit more by doing some neck movements. And at this point, if at any time, or maybe at this point, if your knees are speaking to you, if you're feeling you need to adjust your seat, by all means, go right ahead and either sit cross-legged, sit in a different way altogether with legs stretched out, whatever, again, your body needs. So just tune in and see what would feel right for you as we go through a few more movements. And again, this time we're going to target more of this throat chakra region. So we're going to do some neck movements. And with that next inhale, we're going to lengthen through the front of the neck and keep those shoulder blades back and down. So we're really staying strong and lifted through the spine as we isolate our movement now really to this neck throat region. And on the exhale, hinging down, chin to chest, and continuing to flow. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. So this is a simple movement. This is not rocket science here. But of course, we do it mindfully. We synchronize it with the breath. We may be sounding out, as I've been encouraging you to do, especially on the exhale. I find that sounding on the exhale is especially releasing, relaxing. So even the simplest of movements, when we incorporate these various aspects, can be very therapeutic, can be very healing, can be very balancing, in this case to the throat chakra energy. Working to flow that energy in that space of the throat, of the neck. And making sure you're not throwing your head back in a way that, I guess, compresses your vertebrae there. So as we lift the chin, we're lengthening up as we lift. We're not just throwing the weight of the head back. The next time your chin comes down, hold it down there. So hinging forward and noticing if as you hinge, if you're causing the weight of your head to come forward or your shoulders to come forward. So again, staying nice and tall and upright. This is a simple hinge, trying to bring the chin towards the chest without moving your weight forward or pulling your head forward. Shoulders are relaxed, rest of the body is neutral. Take a few breaths here. And we'll do a little pendulum-like movement. So as we take our inhale, we'll do it at center. And as we exhale, we're going to take the chin to the right shoulder. And then back to center on the inhale. On the exhale, chin moves to the left shoulder. So it's kind of like a swinging pendulum-like movement from side to side with the neck staying flexed forward. Finding your rhythm. Let your breath guide you here. Beautiful. Next time you come to center, pause at center again and inhale the chin to center. Take a breath here, and then next inhale, go up towards the ceiling. So again, lifting as if you're being lifted from the base of your skull when you take your head back. So don't throw the weight of the head back and compress the neck area. So from that lifted feeling, we're going to do a similar movement where we inhale at center, and on the exhale, we turn the chin over to the right corner. And then inhale center, exhale chin to the left corner. So again, finding your pace, breathe with this movement, make it mindful. We're going to do two more. And then as you come back to center next time, hold it there for a moment and then exhale back to center with your neck. Awesome. We're going to do one more neck movement. With this one, we'll take the right ear toward the right shoulder, kind of like a side bend, but just for the neck. And then we'll allow the left hand to come out to the side. So just let it drop there. And you might hit the floor with your fingers or your hand, or maybe your left arm dangles here, depending on how much height you have or how long or short your arms are. But we're just going to feel like there's weights at our left fingertips, gently pulling down on the arm to create a stretch at the left side of the neck. And then we'll take the right hand and very gently place it, not pushing, not pressing in any way, but just a gentle placement of the right hand at the top of the head to create a little more space. And you might be comfortable just holding this just like this. But if you are interested in playing with some movement here, take a breath here at center. And on the exhale, move the chin down gently. And then continue to breathe in any fashion that feels good to you as you move the chin up and down from this original positioning. And just notice how that feels to open up the left side of the neck, the left side of the throat. Once again, you might be called to play with that sounding again. Or you might not be, but I encourage you, if you're not someone who usually sounds out, to just explore it. And if it really doesn't feel authentic to you, you don't have to do it. But if you've never played with it or explored it, I do encourage you to try, just to see if the reasoning behind that is something that you might want to work through or work with. You never know until you try, right? So whatever kind of movement you're doing, if you are doing movement, go ahead and bring it back to that first neutral place, and then release the hand and come back to center. Maybe you roll the shoulders a little bit, shake it out, and then we'll do the other side. So left ear to left shoulder. Let the right arm be loose, hanging down as if you've got little weights at your right fingertips. Left hand comes to the head. And again, without pressing, just breathing. And adding movement if that feels right for this side. A mindful movement of the chin as you hold this side bend of the neck. Breathing through it, trying to create space and opening and expansion all around that throat chakra region. Base of the neck, all around the throat area, collarbones, shoulder blades. Maybe a couple more on this side. And then if you have been moving, bring it back to center. Release that left hand. Bring your head back to center. Once again, maybe you do a few movements of the shoulders, of the head in any way that feels good to you, maybe even of the whole body. Shake it out. And pause. Close those eyes. Notice what you notice. Sensations, physical sensations, subtle sensations, feelings, thoughts, energy, breath. Just bring awareness to that throat region, base of the throat, base of the neck, around the collarbones, around the shoulder blades. We'll take 3 more nice big breaths here. Again, if you like to sound out on the exhale, go right ahead. Be my guest. Nice breath in. Ooh. Ah. Ah. And then gently opening your eyes. Okay, so we're going to come off of our supports here in our hero pose. So just very gently bring yourself up onto your knees first. Curl those toes and give those feet a stretch, and then come on off your supports, and we can go ahead and move our supports to the side, although we will possibly be using those same supports again here for the next pose. So you might need to grab the same ones. I'm going to use different ones since I have different ones here. And so I'm going to actually use my blocks for the next pose that we're doing, which is a supported fish pose. So I'll put one block, basically kind of where my upper body is going to be. So this lower block is going to support my shoulder blades. And maybe give yourself about maybe 3 to 4 inches, and then place the second block there. And to start off, you're actually going to place the second block, which is going to be for your head, at a higher height. So if you're going to use blocks, this is how I would suggest placing them. If you don't have blocks, and if you're using your other accessories, then I would recommend maybe the towels or the blankets or the cushions, whatever you're using, place that for your shoulder blades. And then again, similarly, you're going to have a support for your head that's a little bit higher. Okay, so depending on what you have, you might have to adjust what you use so that your head is slightly higher than your shoulder blades. Okay, so giving you some thoughts here on how you can do that. I'm going to move that stuff because I'm going to work with the blocks. So the way we get onto our blocks here is we're going to sit right in front and think about the shoulder blades. So maybe even before you come down, you're going to feel for your shoulder blades. And we want the top of our shoulder blades, where you can feel that shoulder blade coming straight across to the tip of your shoulder there. That edge, that top edge, is going to be at the top edge of our block. So we might need a little finagling. You might have to play with this a little bit, explore it. And the way you know you have it is that it actually feels quite comfortable. You may not think it, that how can lying on blocks feel comfortable? But it really does. So as I get on here, it really feels like my scapulae, those triangular bones that the shoulder blades come off of, that they feel fully supported on the block or your blankets or whatever you're using. And so if I feel for my shoulder blades and I feel the top edge of the block, I can kind of see where it aligns. And I can certainly wiggle around and make sure that that feels comfortable. I can adjust my support accordingly. And then, of course, like I said, we want that head to be supported as well. And if you notice, my forehead is a little bit higher than my chin, and that's what we're kind of looking for to start. We're looking for the forehead to be a little bit higher than the chin, or at least level. If you don't have enough supports to get your head to be a little higher, at least level. And as far as the legs are concerned, you may come into a constructive rest by bringing your knees together and your feet apart. That might be one comfortable option. You might choose to just extend the legs, which is probably what I'm going to do right now, is just allow my legs to stay extended. And maybe you put a blanket under your knees if you choose to extend your legs. So take just another 30 seconds or so to get yourself situated here in your supported fish pose. Those arms are going to relax out to the side as you basically, we're working to open up this upper chest throat area here. And we're starting in this first position to really let the body acclimate to this shape, to the supports underneath. So once you've gotten yourself in this position, just begin to breathe. Nice big full breaths. Maybe even bring awareness to that area around the collarbones, between the shoulders, between the shoulder blades. Taking nice big full breaths at the base of the throat. Once again, once you tune in, once you go inward, what is your body wanting to do here in this stillness that it's created? Does it want to sound in some way? Is it asking for some sort of adjustment or additional support? Just observe any and all sensations, thoughts, feelings, emotions. And as we settle into this supported fish pose, we're going to ease our way to other levels of this pose, other expressions of this pose. And I invite you to come back to this original shape if the others don't work for you. If your neck does not feel supported, if you don't feel comfortable. And I should say that we're looking to keep ourselves out of pain. You might feel a little uncomfortable, and if you're able to breathe through discomfort, that's actually okay. We want to work through discomfort, but what we don't want is pain. So if you feel like you're on the verge of pain or somehow harming or hurting yourself, absolutely come back to this first position, or maybe even come out of it gently. But if you can lower your support, so if you've got a block, you're going to lower it down to the lower level, the same level as what is under your shoulder blades. And if you're using a blanket or something, you might take that blanket away, or you might take one of your blankets or towels away if you have multiple ones, and allow yourself to come down a notch. And then give yourself several breaths here just to settle in once again, letting the weight of your shoulders and arms sink into the support beneath, letting your head now sink and feeling that greater opening created by the head being lowered down, the greater opening in that throat region, in that upper chest region. And just breathing through this again, nice big smooth breaths. Letting go. What have you been stifling? What have you been holding on to? So I've just been sounding out with random sounds that just come out of my body because they feel good. And I'm encouraging you to just explore the sounds that you may want to release, to let out, whatever they may be. This is your practice. This is your opportunity to sound out. You might even want to say something or express something as you hold these poses, perhaps. And allow yourself to hear yourself without judgment. And if a judgment arises, just acknowledge it for what it is and let it go. So again, we could stay right here, or we could try to go into another expression of this, which really opens up the throat. And so if you're comfortable with removing the block or the support you have under your head altogether so that the only thing lifted, and I'm actually going to adjust myself here because I feel like I moved down a little bit by doing that. So if you need to tweak your balance on your lower block or lower support, go right ahead and tweak that as well. And then if you're comfortable, or at least willing and able to work through this expression of supported fish, then I encourage you to breathe through this for a handful of breaths. Now, at any time, once again, if you feel like there's any pinching, there's any kind of acute pain, anything at all that puts up a red flag, very gently bend your knees if they're straight and roll off to one side slowly so that you don't hurt your neck, or go ahead and grab your support and place it under your head again to lift your head back to the previous position and stay in the previous position. A little bit of discomfort we can work through. So if there's any discomfort, see if you can breathe through that discomfort. Sound through that discomfort. Feel your weight settling downward. Notice where you're resisting any settling, any releasing, any opening. And we're going to take just a few more breaths wherever you are. And then with that next breath, very gently go ahead and support that head again. So engage the core, lift the head slowly, place that support, grab your blanket or your block or cushion back underneath, and just let the head rest once again. Notice how that feels. Take a moment here. And then if you had your legs extended, go ahead and bend those knees, bring the feet up onto the mat. And very mindfully, roll to one side and press yourself up. So gently coming upright. And you're going to hold on to one block or maybe one set of supports, towels, blankets, cushions, whatever you've been using. And we're going to lie flat. So have that one support handy. And then go ahead and lie flat onto your back. And once you get flat onto your back, let's bring those knees in. Hug those knees, flatten out that back. Take a moment or two here, just settling once again. And then we'll bring those feet back down. And we will do a modified legs up the wall. So this time with the heels under your knees, let's lift those hips up, lift the pelvis up, and bring that block under the sacrum this time. So that triangular bone, the sacrum. And again, it may not feel like it would be comfortable, but once you are balanced at your sacrum, it actually feels quite comfortable. So you'll know that you're in the right spot when it feels pretty balanced and comfortable. The key is not to be on your spine. So I am not on my spine. I'm not on my vertebrae. I am way down at my sacrum, at my hips. You can feel the pelvic rim there, also against the block. So once you have that on your support, whether it's a block or blankets, again, cushions, whatever, we're going to bring those knees up. Arms will be relaxed. The arms can be in any position, at your side, out like a T, and cactus arms up above. You decide what feels good to you today. And then we will lengthen those legs straight up and just allow the legs to be soft. So even though we're making an effort here to lift the legs and to hold them up as straight as we can. So if knees are bent, that's okay, but try to hold them up as straight as you can comfortably. And if they're shaking, that's okay. That just means you're doing the work. It's not a big deal. And just breathe. So feel your arms, your shoulders, your neck. All of that is relaxed. The weight of your arms and shoulders, especially those shoulder blades, are settled into the floor. The back of your head is settled into the floor. Your hips are settled into the support beneath. And you've got that engagement through the legs, just enough engagement to hold the legs upright. Trying to balance ease with the effort that needs to be made to hold this shape. Breathing, soft face, soft neck. You might even turn the head gently left to right, making sure that the neck is relaxed. You might even move the jaw around, relaxing through the jaw, which also relates to throat chakra. And of course, you might sound out here. I sound like a broken record sometimes with my reminders, but only because I know how intimidating it can be, because I myself experienced that before. So hopefully you haven't been, or maybe even if you have, that's okay. Hopefully this is helping you work through anything that feels strange and scary and embarrassing. Because that's what clearing throat chakra energy, opening throat chakra, balancing throat chakra is all about. Being willing to express yourself, being willing to explore your self-expression, being willing to hear yourself as well as others. So we'll take a handful more breaths here. As you take that next breath, on the exhale, begin to gently bend your knees. And bring one foot down. It doesn't matter which one. And once that foot is planted, helping to anchor and balance you, bring the other knee in a little bit more. And as you bring the other knee in a little bit more, maybe you use your hands to pull it in a little bit more. Feel the flattening against the support. Feel your shoulder blades sink a little bit more. Keep the softness in your face and neck. And then switch. So gently bring that foot down to anchor you and ground you, and bring the other one up. And again, gently bringing it in to the extent that it feels good. Feeling the backside of the upper body sink and settle a little more. And then gently bringing that foot down, both heels under the feet, heels under the knees. And then engage that core gently to lift. Take that support away and come back flat. And maybe you bring those knees in again, hug those knees, doing some movement, flattening out the back in whatever way feels good to you. And then let's hug the knees with your hands. So however you're able to pull those knees in, hugging them to whatever extent feels good to you. I invite you to gently engage the chin downwards. So it's as if you're kind of trying to squeeze something between your chin and your chest. So just engage gently, bringing your chin down towards your sternum. Keep the shoulders planted though, meaning that shoulder blades are pressing into the floor right now, even as you try to bring your chin in towards your chest. Your core is active here. Now use that active core,
keeping this shape that we've taken, use that active core to lift yourself up. So you're using the core strength to lift, not your head. You're not thrusting your head or your shoulders upward, using the core strength to lift as high as you feel comfortable. It may not even be that much, and that's okay. Keep that chin tucked, breathe. Nice big breaths in and out. Keep breathing as you engage in this way. And then exhale, bring yourself down slowly. Relax the head. Let the chin roll up naturally. Let the feet come down. Give your arms a rise as you reach back and lengthen into a full body stretch. Ah, that's a great place to give yourself a nice big breath out. Sounding out, sighing out, letting go. Whatever movements feel good here. So you explore some movement here with the entire body that feels good to you. And that's going to bring us to our Shavasana, our final relaxation. So once that feels complete to you, go ahead and set yourself up for Shavasana, bringing any kind of support to your body here, under knees, under your head perhaps. So whatever feels good to you, go ahead and set yourself up. As you do that, I'm going to gently bring myself up so that I can be seated as I guide you through your Shavasana. So once you've found your comfortable expression of Shavasana for today, I invite you to feel the weight of your body against the floor. Feel your heels settling down. Feel your sacrum, your hips settling down. Your shoulder blades, your shoulders, arms settling down. The back of your head settling down. And then notice the flow of breath in and out. Just observe it. Nothing you need to do with the breath. There's no need to extend the exhale or even sound out on the exhale, unless, of course, you're being called to do that. But really just observing breath, its natural flow in and out. And I invite you now to bring awareness to that area of throat chakra energy. The base of the throat, base of the neck, between the collarbones, between the shoulder blades. Just observe that region of your body. Become a witness to that region and just notice how it feels, without any analysis of why it feels that way or why it doesn't feel a certain way, without any judgment. Simply witness whatever you're noticing there. And I invite you to perhaps even visualize a beautiful turquoise blue color. That is the color of throat chakra, light blue, turquoise blue. And maybe you envision that color of energy there in that space. Maybe you envision it opening and expanding, clearing, decluttering, purifying your voice. And maybe as you do so and as you focus your awareness in that space of throat chakra, maybe you also are able to tap into your inner voice.
hearing your inner voice, your authentic voice. Giving yourself permission to listen to that inner voice, that authentic voice. What is it saying to you today? Just allow yourself to listen. Allow your inner voice to be heard by you, by yourself. And now I invite you to take 3 final cleansing breaths in and out of your body. Once again, your option on the exhale is to sigh out, sound out. If that feels good to you, nice big breath in. Another big breath in. Last nice big breath in. And then beginning to bring gentle movement back to the body. Toes, fingers, wrists, knees, ankles, whatever feels like it needs a little bit of movement or stretching. Eventually, one foot after another comes up on the mat, and eventually you turn to one side and maybe pause for an extra breath or two in that fetal position before you eventually ease your way upright, coming into that comfortable upright seat. And once you're in your comfortable upright seat, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart space. And we will sound together one last time the seed sound for throat chakra energy, which is hum. That's H-A-M, hum. So let's take a nice big breath in. Hum. Gently bowing your head to your own heart. Namaste. Once again, thank you for joining me in this practice to work with and balance our throat chakra energy, our Vishuddha energy, the energy of purification. And as I said earlier, I hope you enjoyed the practice, and I hope that you will continue to work with this throat chakra energy to continue to expand your self-expression and continue to move into your own authentic expression. It's so needed right now. So I encourage you to explore that, and I thank you. Until next time, be well.